Hello YouTube friends. Today's update is actually about our son's 1978 Bronco that he's restoring. So he brought the trim over for Patrick to clean up for him. So it's a three-step process. He tried easy off to remove the anodizing off of it. Didn't work, so he got this stuff. Brand is Instant Power hair and grease drain opener. So he mixed some of that with water and that removed the anodizing. Then he fixed the dents that were in the trim. Then he sanded it with up to 2000 grit sandpaper on his electric sanders. And then he polished it with his electric polisher. So it's looking pretty good, nice and shiny now. And it was a bit of a job to do it quite manual because it's a three-step process, plus all that polishing and fixing the dents took a fair bit of time, but it looks good now.
A little bit of an update for everybody on what I'm working on. When I said I was going to leave my bodywork on the Galaxy dry, I'm also helping my son do some polishing on some of his trim on his Bronco. If you look in the videos, lots of people say use Easy Off to take off the old coatings off the aluminum. That didn't really work very well for me. So I ended up using this hair and grease drain opener. It says it's got concentrated lye in it. In French it says it's got sodium hydroxide, which is what you need. I end up using a 50-50 mix. It doesn't tell me how much sodium hydroxide concentration there is in there. It just says there's some in there. So I end up using that. This is a bit of the work in progress as I'm stripping them. So this piece here is stripped, it's ready for polishing. This one needs another coat or two. I ended up putting some on, leaving it for a while, and then scrubbing it and seeing if it needs more. This is how it looks like after I've completed it. This is what it looks like before I start. You'll see here, pretty good dent here, so I'm gonna have to fix that. The way I fix that, so I've got a few things. Of course, I've got a vise I can use. I've got this little anvil I can use. I'll clamp it down. I've got a bunch of specialty hammers. I've got a file, a bunch of tools there. Of course, air sanders with some fine grit sandpaper and some wet dry sandpaper there for finishing it off. What I learned yesterday or a couple days ago was sanding it. I was sanding it 600 and then wet sanding with 8 and then 1500. It didn't seem to be doing enough. But I found that when I took this air sander and I sanded it with 2000 wet, it seemed to really take those deeper sand scratches out and make it pop really well. So you can see how reasonably shiny this is. You'll find that if you're doing too coarse a grit, you'll have to do that. So that's it in a summary. Here you can see I'm using this black buffing compound on my wheel, just a polishing wheel on there, and you can see this is about 5 minutes of work. The difference there versus the difference there looks pretty good.